What's up, guys? Justin here with Crash Fab. So we just racked that one dude's Jeep on the lift, and we're gonna do a little bit of work to it, do some mods, and see if we can make this thing do a little bit better. So let's check out why and what we're doing today. So let's go to the front end. So we are getting rid of the conventional steering on this rig. So he has fusion steering, aluminum steering, and rare parts ends. It's been a very good system for many, many years of good wheeling. But we found a couple limitations, mainly because of this Jeep and what this Jeep can do. So because we've got these huge 14s on the front, if you can see this joint, and we'll do a little close-up of it later, it's pretty much maxed out as far as the articulation in the joint. And that's because we've got so much drop in the front end that we kind of have this steering maxed out. So you take that and then you couple it with the fact that Adam basically has used this front steering as pretty much as a jackhammer trying to break rocks on the trail. So we've had some in-depth conversations about that, but it's gotten abused very hard. He's bent a couple of the forgings and we've got all that stuff replaced. Rare Parts is super good about all that, but it's time to get a step above that, and so we're not going to have these issues anymore. So we're going to get rid of all the conventional steering and do what they call full hydraulic steering, or full hydro for short. Unfortunately, full hydro is not street legal, so this is an off-road application, but it gives you advantages because you have a lot more power for the steering. So instead of just a small 1 3/4 ram with a hydraulic assist running through the steering, we get rid of all that. You have just this big ram. So this is a 3-inch by 9-inch steering ram from PSC. Because of the fusion axles and the kingpin setup, I know that I can use a 9-inch ram on here and use a lot of articulation of the steering. It's pretty much maxing out the U-joints as far as, steering. It's right there on the max of the knuckles and the U-joints. So, but it does work. And so you have just this big cylinder, no more steering box, and you run an orbital valve to articulate it so the hydraulics go straight in here and straight out of here into here. So basically you have like a forklift or a tractor style steering. This is what all your Ultra 4 cars are gonna run in the big class, and it's super powerful, and it's gonna push his 42s around no problem with whatever obstacle he's gonna do. Now the other reason that we got to this is because Adam was wheeling about a year ago, smashing along the trail up at Slicks Rock, and I wasn't there, but somehow he smashed his passenger side wheel into a rock while driving probably like 30 or 40 miles an hour. That impact was hard enough that it did a lot of damage, and so we noticed it after he got back from the trip because immediately what he noticed is that he had sheared all these bolts off on the steering clamp. This is a 4x4 garage steering clamp from Chris, and it's the strongest one I know on the market, but it still hit so hard that it sheared all the bolts off because the hydraulics kind of tried to stay hard and the wheel pushed it, and this held and this did not. So that was the weak point. But it also waterfalled into a whole bunch of other damage. So the ball joint that was on this side got completely bent. So straight would be over here, and I don't know if you can see that this thing's got a big old bend in it. So he bent this in that impact, which obviously Rare Parts replaced, and this has been getting rusted on for a year now, so that's why it looks like crap. But so Rare Parts replaced that, but that damage kept translating. So what it actually did is, if you look at the steering box here, I know we'll do a close-up because I know that it's really dark right now, but so it pushed the steering box hard enough that some of the welds around the bolts are actually cracked off the frame. And there's also a section on the frame where you can see that the paint's basically buckled off the frame because the frame twisted. And you can also tell the steering box actually got rocked so hard in the impact that it actually bent a 1/4-inch steel gusset that's up here. So it was a rather violent impact. So we're gonna basically, this stuff is all damaged. I could fix it all. We could take this all apart. We could make sure everything's straight. We could re-weld all the broken welds, and he could, put this back together. But because of the other limitations that we talked about, we've pretty much found the end of this steering system. So we're gonna get rid of it. We're gonna do a full hydro setup for him. And with all the crazy stuff that Adam's doing out there now, going up all these buggy lines and all that stuff, it's gonna be a much better setup for him. He's gonna have no problem with power and steering. So it's gonna be cool. I already have the brackets all fabbed up and plasmaed out. So we're gonna weld those together. We're gonna strip this all down, change these top hats on the kingpins to allow for the full hydro, and it's gonna be a double shear system. So it's gonna be super strong, and he'll be back there on the trail and ready to tear it up. Okay, so on Adam's Jeep here on the full hydro conversion, I got everything mocked up. So I got the ram like perfectly centered in the axle here. I got my knuckles set so that they are straight on both sides, and then I can adjust the toe from there. But so everything's set up straight, level, measured, everything. And then so basically what I have to do is, because we're kind of doing a hodgepodge of a 3-link with a full hydro, we are going to notch this around here and kind of fit this bracket into the 3-link. Ideally, this is not what you'd want to do, is a full hydro with a 3-link, but it's going to work and provide Adam enough to get the rest of the wheeling season this year, and maybe do a reevaluation on the front suspension next winter. So, but everything is gonna go together pretty good. So basically this will get sucked back, we'll tie our arms in and weld everything out. Okay, so quick update on the Adam full hydro build. So right now the Jeep is sitting at full bump, and that's really important because that's, you know, where everything gets really tight here. And I knew that this build was gonna be extremely tight because Adam wanted to keep his 3-link with his track bar and make it work for now. It's really not the right way to do a full hydro setup. Typically, you know, you'll see a dual triangulated 4-link in the front with a kind of a truss over there, and that hydro ram will attach to the truss. So we're kind of doing an unconventional system here, mainly because it's the middle of wheeling season and the worst time to do a major Jeep improvement. But here we are. Adam has, you know, had some pretty messed up steering, so we're getting him back on the trail. He's got wolf caves and trail hero and all kinds of stuff coming up, so he needs a Jeep that can steer. So we're fixing that. So we ran into a couple more issues that I don't think I videoed, but I'll just talk about them real quick. So when we changed out the arms and the kingpin, I realized that we had a huge issue inside here. There's a tapered piece of plastic or phenolic that basically controls the tension on the kingpin. Those things were completely bottomed out and broken. The plastic was actually literally cracked. And then, oh, I already threw them away. There's like a plate that goes on top of the plastic. That plate was like completely depressed and like waffled because it had been pushed down, trying to have been pushed down, but it can't because the plastic wasn't doing its job. So we got rid of all the plastic stuff. We put a set of bronze bushings inside there from Rough Stuff. So that cost us about a day of getting parts and all that stuff. But we got it all done, changed arms out, set the tension, drilled out the bottom of the casting. We've got double shear hydro ram now. Got our bolts in there, got our tension set. We're ready to go. So we set our full bump, and then basically I kind of drew a bracket that was going to be a little bit universal for this application, because without having this Jeep at full bump and then like 3D scanning this whole section, it'd be impossible to design this bracket to be perfect first try. So what I did is I designed a bracket that mounts to the tube, and I can rotate up and down depending on how much room I have, because I knew this was going to be so tight. So basically once I had that bracket tacked together, I put it on the axle tube, and then I rotated it up as high as I could. So I had a little bit of clearance between all the different things down here, about a 1/2 inch everywhere, so that way everything's got a little bit of clearance. So got everything set, got everything whittled into place, and now it's drying on paint, and we're ready to start welding it in. So we're gonna get after that here in a minute. The only other thing I was gonna talk about was, typically with a full hydro setup, it always goes in front of the differential. Unless you have like a 4 9-inch or, you know, one of the fancy 10-inch stuff, you have to kind of keep this area serviceable, because if you have a problem in the gears, they have to come out the front, and we didn't do that on this build. So what we just did was we cut off part of my mount, and the reason for that is we have to make this removable so that you can get to the differential cover. So that's about it. I'm gonna get to tacking here and tack this bracketry on the front axle here, and we'll show you guys that and keep on rocking. real quick, there's the bracket tacked on. I've got some gap here, but it definitely is like going over diff cover. You guys will see that a little bit later on when we finish up too. Let me jump in here and show you guys some of this stuff. So what's cool is inside here, you can see that I've got a piece of metal here. I'm gonna weld that to the tube where you can see that light coming through just a little bit. I'm gonna weld that to the tube inside here. Once that's welded inside and we're welded top and the bottom, then I'll put the other cap on here and weld that all out too. And it'll be welded on 4 sides to this bracket and just be super strong. I know it's really dark in here. It's because it's so bright everywhere else. It's dark as crap in here. So, but hopefully you guys can see. And you can see kind of how tight the clearances are. I mean, literally I can't barely put my finger between the track bar and this bracket. It's gonna be a little bit interesting with the hydraulic lines. I think we're gonna have to kind of swoop this way and then kind of come back on the track bar or something to make it not have any interferences. And then he's gonna have to do something with this radiator hose too, because it's all up in the way. I mean, it hit before, but now it definitely is in the way too. So lots of work to do. What's up guys, so we're all wrapped up here. We got Adam's full hydro all done. You saw the little video of us, testing and moving it, so everything's all wrapped up. So we got this little protection bar in here for now. It's kind of a temporary setup. I got a cool idea with what I want to do with some plate and stuff to make this look really cool, but we're not going to worry about that right now. Adam's got to hit some events and trails and stuff, and I got to get back to other jobs. So we got this emergency job kind of all wrapped up, and he's got some steering now again, so super important. So he's going to throw this thing on the trailer, go beat it up a little bit. I'm going to get some plasma cut parts ordered so we can make this new kind of protection thing up front, make it look a little bit cooler than just a piece of tubing up there. So we're going to work on that, but as of now, he's got steering. So that's it for today. I'm dirty and I'm ready for dinner, so later.